My kings and my queens of the divine race, peace and blessings. I'm Geeton.
Have you ever found yourself in the quiet moments of your day, perhaps while staring out a window or just before you drift off to sleep, wondering if you're missing the warning signs in your relationship? It's a profound and sometimes unsettling question, isn't it? We invest so much of ourselves, our hearts, our time, our hopes, into the connections we build with others. We pour our energy into nurturing a bond that we believe will bring us joy, support, and a sense of belonging. But what happens when a subtle, persistent feeling of unease begins to creep in? A quiet whisper in the back of your mind that suggests something isn't quite right. This isn't about looking for flaws, it's about seeking clarity and truth. Today, we're going to embark on a journey of awareness together. We're diving deep with intention and compassion into the 10 relationship red flags you should never ever ignore. Think of this not as a checklist to condemn, but as a lens to understand. These aren't just abstract concepts. They are real, tangible patterns that can shape the entire landscape of our emotional well-being. By bringing these signs into the light, we empower ourselves to see our relationships for what they truly are, not just what we wish them to be. This is about cultivating the wisdom to distinguish between a healthy challenge and a harmful pattern, a distinction that is absolutely crucial for our growth. Let's have an honest conversation, you and I. Let's create a space free of judgment, a space where we can explore these sensitive topics with openness and courage. Because your happiness, your peace of mind, and your sense of self-worth are not just important, they are paramount. They are the very foundation upon which you build a fulfilling life. Ignoring these red flags isn't a sign of strength or patience. Often, it's a slow erosion of our own spirit. It's time we honored that inner voice, that intuitive nudge that tells us to pay closer attention. It's time to choose self-awareness over blissful ignorance, because true, lasting love can only flourish in an environment of honesty and health. So, I invite you to be present for this conversation. Let go of any defensiveness and open your mind to these insights. Whether you're in a long-term partnership, navigating the early stages of a new romance, or simply reflecting on past experiences to learn and grow for the future, there is something here for you. This is more than just a video. It's an act of self-care. It's an investment in your future happiness and an affirmation that you deserve a relationship that uplifts you, respects you, and allows you to be your most authentic self. Let's begin this important work together with purpose and with heart. Let's begin with the very bedrock of any meaningful human connection: communication. Open, honest, and vulnerable communication is not just a feature of a healthy relationship. It is the lifeblood that flows through its veins, nourishing every aspect of the partnership. It's the bridge that connects two separate inner worlds, allowing for empathy, understanding, and true intimacy to blossom. When this bridge is closed, when conversations become shallow, avoided, or non-existent, it's one of the most significant red flags you can encounter. It signals a fundamental breakdown in the very mechanism designed to solve problems, share joy, and navigate the complexities of life together. Think about it. How can you truly know someone if they are unwilling to share their thoughts, fears, and dreams with you? And how can they know you if you feel unsafe or unheard when you try to do the same? A lack of communication creates a vacuum, and that empty space is quickly filled with assumptions, misunderstandings, and resentment. Small issues that could have been resolved with a simple, honest chat are left to fester, growing into large, unmanageable conflicts. It's like neglecting a small crack in a foundation. Over time, with pressure and neglect, that small crack can threaten the stability of the entire structure. The silence becomes a language of its own, speaking of distance and disconnect. The avoidance of tough conversations is a particularly telling sign. Life is not always easy, and relationships will inevitably face challenges. A partner who consistently shuts down, deflects, or outright refuses to discuss difficult topics, whether it's about finances, future plans, or emotional needs, is essentially refusing to participate in the partnership. They are leaving you to carry the emotional weight of the problem alone. This avoidance isn't a sign of keeping the peace. It's a sign of fear, immaturity, or a lack of investment in finding a real, lasting solution. A healthy relationship requires the courage to face discomfort together, knowing that your bond is strong enough to withstand the storm. Ultimately, the goal of communication isn't to always agree, it's to always understand. It's about validating each other's feelings and perspectives, even when they differ from your own. It's about saying, "I hear you, and what you feel matters to me." When that fundamental validation is missing, when your attempts to connect are met with a wall of silence or dismissiveness, the relationship begins to starve. It's deprived of the very oxygen it needs to survive. Paying attention to the quality and depth of your communication is the first, most crucial step in assessing the health of your connection. Is it a dialogue of connection or a monologue of isolation? Diving deeper, we must recognize that communication is a two-way street. It's as much about listening as it is about speaking. A partner who dominates every conversation, who is always waiting for their turn to talk rather than truly absorbing what you're saying, is not engaged in healthy dialogue. This creates an imbalance where one person's voice, needs, and reality are consistently prioritized over the others. You may find yourself shrinking, making your own feelings smaller and smaller to make room for theirs. This isn't compromise, it's a slow and subtle erasure of your own identity within the relationship, a sign that your inner world is not being given the space it deserves to exist. Consider the texture of your conversations. Are they purely logistical, about bills, chores, and schedules, or is there room for emotional vulnerability? Can you talk about a bad day at work and receive genuine empathy? Can you share a secret hope or a deep-seated fear without feeling judged or ridiculed? The absence of this emotional layer is a critical red flag. A relationship without emotional intimacy is merely a cohabitation, a partnership in name only. It lacks the glue that holds two people together through thick and thin, the shared understanding that makes you feel truly seen and cherished for who you are, not just for the role you play. Furthermore, pay close attention to how disagreements are handled. A partner who resorts to yelling, name-calling, or giving the silent treatment is not communicating. They are trying to control and punish. These tactics are designed to shut down the conversation and force submission, not to reach a mutual understanding. Healthy conflict resolution involves respect even in anger. It involves using I statements to express feelings rather than you statements to cast blame. It requires taking breaks when things get too heated and coming back to the conversation later with a cooler head. A persistent pattern of destructive conflict is a clear signal that the fundamental tools for a healthy relationship are missing. So the invitation here is to become a student of your own interactions. Observe the flow of energy in your conversations. Do you feel energized and understood, or drained and dismissed? Do you feel safe to be your full, authentic self, or do you find yourself editing your words and hiding parts of your experience? The answers to these questions are incredibly revealing. They will tell you whether the foundation of your relationship is built on the solid rock of open, respectful communication or on the shifting sands of avoidance and control. Remember, a love that is real is a love that is willing to talk, and more importantly, willing to listen. Now let's talk about a poison that can seep into the foundations of a relationship and corrode it from the inside out. Disrespect. This is so critically important because, unlike a loud argument, disrespect can often be subtle, a series of small cuts that you might initially dismiss or rationalize away. It can be the sarcastic comment about your new hobby disguised as a joke. It can be the constant interruptions when you're speaking, signaling that your thoughts aren't valuable. It can be the subtle eye roll when you express an opinion, or the way they check their phone while you're pouring your heart out. Each instance on its own might seem minor, but together they form a devastating pattern. This pattern of subtle disrespect is a form of emotional erosion. It slowly wears away at your self-worth, making you question your own value, intelligence, and perceptions. You might start to believe that you are indeed too sensitive, or that you're making a big deal out of nothing, just as your partner suggests. This is the insidious nature of this red flag. It not only harms the relationship but also damages your relationship with yourself. A loving partner is meant to be a safe harbor, a person who builds you up and reinforces your strengths. When that person becomes the source of these small, persistent attacks on your self-esteem, the very purpose of the partnership is undermined. Think of your self-worth as a garden. A supportive partner helps you tend to it. They water the flowers, pull the weeds, and celebrate the growth. A disrespectful partner, however, consistently tramples on the blossoms. They might not bulldoze the entire garden in one go, but with every dismissive comment, every condescending tone, every broken promise, they are compacting the soil and making it harder for anything beautiful to grow. Over time, you may stop trying to plant new seeds of dreams or ideas because you anticipate they will just be crushed. You learn to make yourself smaller to avoid the pain of being trampled on, which is a profound tragedy. It is absolutely crucial to understand that disrespect is not a normal part of a loving relationship. Disagreements are normal. Moments of frustration are normal. But a consistent lack of regard for your feelings, your thoughts, your time, and your being is not. It is a choice. It is a behavior that reveals a fundamental lack of care and consideration. And when you notice this pattern, it's a sign that you must pay very close attention. Do not minimize it. Do not excuse it. Acknowledge it for what it is, a warning that the person you are with does not cherish you in the way that you deserve to be cherished. While subtle disrespect erodes, overt disrespect demolishes. This is when the behavior is no longer masked by jokes or plausible deniability. It's out in the open, and it is undeniably hostile. This includes name-calling, belittling you in front of friends or family, mocking your ambitions, or harshly criticizing your appearance, your personality, or your core character. This type of behavior is not a flaw or a bad habit. It is a form of emotional abuse. It is designed to assert dominance, to control you by making you feel small, inadequate, and unworthy of love from anyone else, especially not from them. A particularly damaging form of overt disrespect is the violation of your trust through public humiliation. When a partner shares your private vulnerabilities with others, tells embarrassing stories at your expense, or teams up with others to make you the butt of a joke, they are breaking a sacred contract. They are demonstrating that their need for a laugh, for social standing, or for a moment of power is more important than your emotional safety. This is a profound betrayal. It creates a feeling of deep insecurity, not just with your partner, but in your social circles as well, isolating you and making you feel exposed and alone. We must also talk about how this behavior impacts your future. A partner who consistently disrespects you is conditioning you to accept less than you deserve. Your standards begin to lower over time, and you may even start to believe that this is what all relationships are like. This is one of the greatest dangers of staying in such a dynamic. It recalibrates your internal compass for what is acceptable. making it harder to recognize a healthy, respectful love when you see it. It can create a cycle where you move from one disrespectful relationship to another, because your sense of what is normal has been warped by your experience. So, I want you to reflect with deep honesty. Does your partner honor your essence? Do they speak to you and about you with kindness and respect even when you're not around? Do they celebrate your successes and treat your failures with compassion? Your answers to these questions are vital. Respect is the bare minimum, the non-negotiable entry fee for a relationship with you. It is not something to be earned, it is something to be given freely because you are a human being worthy of dignity. Never let anyone convince you otherwise. Ignoring consistent disrespect is like ignoring a fire in your home. It will only grow, and it will eventually consume everything you hold dear. Now, let's turn our awareness to a red flag that often masquerades as care, but is in fact a form of emotional imprisonment. I'm talking about controlling tendencies. This can be one of the most insidious and difficult flags to recognize, because at first, it can feel like deep love and concern. I just worry about you, they might say, or I want what's best for you. These statements, on the surface, sound beautiful, don't they? They sound like the words of someone who holds you in the highest regard. But we must learn to look beyond the words and observe the energy, the intention, and the impact of the actions that follow. True care empowers you. It doesn't seek to limit you. Think of it like this: a gardener who truly loves their plant provides it with sunlight, water, and good soil, allowing it to grow freely towards the light in whichever direction it naturally bends. A controlling gardener, however, might build a box around the plant, forcing it to grow only in a prescribed shape. They might say they are protecting it from the wind or too much sun, but in reality, they are stunting its natural, beautiful growth for their own sense of order and security. When someone tries to control who you see, what you wear, or how you spend your time, they are not protecting you. They are placing you in an emotional box, limiting your potential to flourish. This control often starts small, so small you might even welcome it. It could be a simple suggestion about your outfit, which seems innocent enough. Or maybe they express disapproval of a friend they feel is a bad influence. You might even rationalize it, thinking, they just know me so well and want me to be my best self. But these small suggestions can slowly escalate. The suggestions become demands. The disapproval of one friend extends to your entire social circle. Suddenly, you find yourself seeking permission for everyday choices, editing your stories to avoid conflict, and walking on eggshells, constantly aware of their potential reaction. This is not a partnership. It is a slow erosion of your autonomy. So, I invite you to ask yourself, does your partner's care feel expansive or restrictive? Does it encourage your growth or demand your conformity? When you express a desire to try something new or connect with someone, is their first reaction one of support or suspicion? True love, true partnership is about two whole individuals choosing to walk a path together, not one person dictating the map for both. It's about celebrating each other's freedom, not curtailing it. Recognizing this difference is a profound act of self-love and is absolutely critical for building a relationship that is truly a safe harbor, not a gilded cage. To truly understand and address controlling behavior, we must cultivate compassion and look deeper to its roots. Control almost always stems from a place of deep-seated insecurity and fear within the other person. It's not about you, your choices, or your worthiness. It is a reflection of their own internal struggles. They may fear abandonment, so they try to control your relationships to ensure you have no one else to turn to. They may fear inadequacy, so they try to control your successes so you don't outshine them. Their need to manage your world is a desperate attempt to manage their own inner chaos. Think of their fear as a storm raging inside them, instead of learning to navigate their own storm, to understand its winds and rains, to find its calm center. They try to build a fortress around you, believing that if they can control every aspect of your life, they can somehow prevent their internal storm from ever breaking out. This is a flawed and ultimately destructive strategy. You are not a lightning rod for their insecurities. You are not a shelter from their unresolved pain. It is not your responsibility to shrink yourself down to make them feel big, or to dim your light to make their darkness more comfortable. This understanding is not an excuse to accept the behavior. Let me be very clear about that. Understanding the root of a problem does not mean we must tolerate its symptoms, but it does allow us to approach the situation with clarity rather than just anger or hurt. It allows us to see that this isn't a reflection of our inadequacy, but of their unhealed wounds. This perspective shift is powerful. It moves us from a place of being a victim of their control to being an observer of their struggle, which empowers us to set firm, clear, and compassionate boundaries for our own well-being. When you notice these tendencies, the path forward requires immense courage. It involves communicating your feelings and boundaries clearly and without apology. It might sound like, "I appreciate your concern for me, but my friendships are important for my happiness, and I need you to trust my judgment," or "I feel controlled when you comment on my choices, and I need the space to be myself." Their reaction to this boundary will tell you everything you need to know. A partner willing to grow will listen, reflect, and work through their insecurities. A partner committed to control will resist, manipulate, and blame. Pay close attention. Let's now explore the silent venom that can seep into the very heart of a connection. A lack of trust. Trust is the spiritual and emotional bedrock of a relationship. It's the unspoken understanding that allows for vulnerability, the invisible thread that holds two people together even when they are apart. It's the faith that your partner has your best interests at heart. When that bedrock cracks, when that thread frays, the entire structure of the relationship becomes unstable. Suspicion, jealousy, and constant accusations are the tremors that signal these cracks are forming, and they can poison everything. Imagine your relationship is a garden. Trust is the clean, pure water that nourishes it, allowing intimacy and love to bloom. Suspicion is like pouring a slow, steady trickle of poison into that water source. At first, the effects aren't obvious. The plants might just look a little less vibrant. But over time, the leaves begin to yellow, the blossoms wither, and the roots start to decay. This is what constant jealousy does. It contaminates every interaction. A simple text message from a friend becomes a source of interrogation. A late night at work becomes a reason for an inquisition. The joy of connection is replaced by the anxiety of accusation. This environment forces you to live in a state of constant defense. You start to preemptively gather evidence to prove your innocence for crimes you haven't even been accused of yet. You might save receipts, take pictures to prove where you were, or over-explain your every move, all in a desperate attempt to appease your partner's anxieties and avoid a conflict. Think about the immense energy that takes. It's exhausting. It drains you of the very vitality you need to contribute to a healthy partnership, to pursue your own goals, and simply to experience joy in your day-to-day life. A relationship should be your safe harbor, not your courtroom. True trust is not about having access to your partner's phone or knowing their every move. That's not trust. That's surveillance. Surveillance is rooted in fear. True trust is about having faith in your partner's character, even when you don't have all the information. It's an inner knowing that they are aligned with you, that they honor your connection, and that they respect you. It's a choice you make, an energy you cultivate together. If your relationship is dominated by a need for proof and a constant state of suspicion, it's a critical sign that the foundational element of trust is either broken or was never there to begin with. When we find ourselves in a dynamic poisoned by a lack of trust, we stand at a crossroads. The path forward requires a deep and honest inquiry. The central question we must ask is this trust broken, or was it never truly built? Sometimes, trust is shattered by a specific event, a betrayal. In these cases, the path to rebuilding, while incredibly difficult, is at least definable. It requires radical honesty, genuine remorse from the person who broke the trust, and a consistent, demonstrated effort over a long period to prove their trustworthiness. It's a journey that both partners must be fully committed to. However, often the lack of trust is not tied to a single event. It's a chronic condition, a feature of the person's character, stemming from their own past traumas, insecurities, or deep-seated belief systems. They may have been betrayed in the past and are now projecting that fear onto you. In this scenario, you can be the most transparent, honest, and loyal partner in the world, and it will never be enough. You cannot fill a bucket that has a hole in the bottom. Their lack of trust is not a problem you can solve for them, because the issue does not reside in your actions, it resides in their perception. This is a painful but liberating realization. It frees you from the impossible task of proving your worthiness to someone who is incapable of seeing it. It allows you to stop contorting yourself to fit into the tiny box of their approval, and to see the situation for what it is. You must recognize that their jealousy and suspicion are their own inner work to do. They need to heal their own wounds, confront their own fears, and learn to cultivate trust from within. You can be supportive of their journey, of course, but you cannot walk the path for them, and you must not set yourself on fire to keep them warm. So the choice becomes one of releasing. This doesn't always mean releasing the relationship, though sometimes it does. It means, at a minimum, releasing the responsibility for their feelings. It means setting a boundary. I will live my life with integrity and honesty, but I will no longer participate in interrogations. I need to be trusted, and if you are unable to do that, we need to address the root of your insecurity, perhaps with professional help. Releasing this burden is an act of profound self-respect. It is you declaring that you deserve to live in an atmosphere of peace and faith, not one of perpetual suspicion. Now we arrive at a red flag that can make a relationship feel like you're navigating a maze of mirrors where nothing is as it seems and you constantly end up back at fault. This is the avoidance of accountability. It's the inability or unwillingness of a partner to ever utter the simple, powerful, and healing words, "I was wrong, I'm sorry." Instead, they become masters of deflection, wizards of blame shifting, creating a reality where they are perpetually the victim or the righteous one, and you are, somehow, always the cause of the problem. This is an incredibly draining and confusing dynamic to be trapped in. Think about the nature of a mistake. Mistakes are human. They are inevitable. In a healthy, conscious partnership, mistakes are seen not as failures, but as opportunities. They are opportunities for deeper understanding, for repair, for growth, and for strengthening the bond through the act of apology and forgiveness. When a partner takes accountability, they are saying, "I see my part in this. I value our connection enough to humble myself and repair the harm I caused." This builds respect and deepens intimacy. It reinforces the idea that you are a team, working through challenges together. But when a partner avoids accountability, they shatter this team dynamic. Every conflict becomes a battle to be won, not a problem to be solved. They will twist your words, bring up mistakes you made months or even years ago, or blame their actions on something you did or said first. "I wouldn't have yelled if you hadn't provoked me," or "well, I only did that because you forgot to do this." This is the blame game, and it's a game you can never win. Its only purpose is to absolve them of any responsibility, leaving the entire weight of the issue squarely on your shoulders. Living in this reality is deeply disorienting. Over time, you can start to question your own perceptions. You begin to wonder, maybe it is always my fault. Maybe I am too sensitive. Maybe I am the one who is difficult. This is a form of gaslighting, whether intentional or not. It erodes your self-esteem and your trust in your own judgment. You find yourself apologizing for things that weren't your fault just to keep the peace. But this is not peace. It is a temporary ceasefire in a war of attrition against your own spirit. A partner who cannot be accountable is a partner who cannot truly grow. A person who consistently avoids accountability is carrying a very heavy, invisible burden. This burden is often made of shame. Deep down, they may feel so fundamentally flawed or unworthy that admitting to a single mistake feels catastrophic. To them, admitting fault isn't just about the specific incident. It feels like a confirmation of their deepest, darkest fear that they are, at their core, bad. So, they build an impenetrable fortress of justifications and blame around themselves to protect this fragile sense of self. The ego cannot tolerate the vulnerability that comes with being wrong. Think of their ego as a fragile glass sculpture. They believe that if they admit to a single crack, the entire thing will shatter into a million pieces. So, they spend all of their energy polishing it, defending it, and blaming any perceived imperfections on the lighting, the display case, or the person looking at it. Anyone but themselves. A healthy ego, in contrast, is more like clay. It's resilient, it can be dented, but it can also be reshaped. It understands that imperfection is part of its form, and that being molded by experience is how it gains character and strength. This is why trying to force an unaccountable person to see their fault is often a futile exercise. You present them with clear, logical evidence of their mistake, and they will simply find an illogical way to refute it. You are trying to reason with an emotional defense mechanism, not a rational person. It's like trying to argue with a fortress wall. You can shout, you can bang on it, but the wall's only function is to stand firm and protect what's inside. The change has to come from within. The person inside has to feel safe enough to open the gate themselves. So your work is not to break down their walls. Your work is to protect your own peace. This means you must stop taking responsibility for their actions and emotions. You must detach from the outcome of the argument and state your reality calmly and clearly. From my perspective, your actions were hurtful, and I am not willing to take the blame for them. You must stop apologizing to placate them. This will feel uncomfortable. It will likely escalate the conflict in the short term because you are disrupting the established pattern. But it is the only way to reclaim your own sense of self and to stop participating in a dynamic that chips away at your soul. Now, let's talk about a red flag that can be incredibly subtle, one that often operates in the shadows of a relationship. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers, making you question your own reality. I'm talking about emotional manipulation. This isn't about a simple disagreement or a moment of frustration. This is a consistent pattern of behavior designed to control you by playing on your feelings. It's like someone is pulling invisible strings, making you dance to their tune without you even realizing you're a puppet. It's a form of psychological control that can leave you feeling confused, anxious, and completely drained, wondering if you're the one who is always in the wrong. Think about it like this. A healthy relationship is built on a foundation of mutual respect and open dialogue. You feel safe to express your feelings, even the difficult ones. But when emotional manipulation enters the picture, that safety disappears. Instead of dialogue, you get tactics. They might use guilt, making you feel responsible for their happiness or their emotional state. They might say things like, "I would be fine if you just didn't do that." Or, "You're making me feel this way." Suddenly, their emotions become your burden to carry, a heavy weight that was never yours to begin with. This is a subtle but powerful way of shifting blame and avoiding their own emotional work. One of the most common forms of this is something we call gaslighting. This is when your partner systematically makes you doubt your own perceptions, your memory, and even your sanity. You might bring up something that hurt you, and they'll respond with, "That never happened," or "You're being too sensitive," or "You're remembering it wrong." Over time, this constant invalidation chips away at your self-trust. You start to second-guess everything. You begin to believe that maybe you are too emotional, maybe you are overreacting. This is the ultimate goal of the manipulator, to erode your reality so that theirs becomes the only one that matters. It's crucial to understand that emotional manipulation is not a sign of love. It is a sign of a deep-seated need for control. True love doesn't seek to diminish you to make itself feel bigger. It doesn't play games with your heart or your mind. Love seeks to uplift, to understand, to validate. It creates a space where you can be your most authentic self, not a confused and anxious version who is constantly walking on eggshells. Recognizing these tactics isn't about pointing fingers. It's about protecting your own mental and emotional well-being. It's about reclaiming your own narrative and your own truth. Let's dive deeper into the mechanics of this, because understanding the tools of manipulation is the first step to disarming them. Guilt is one of the most powerful currencies a manipulator uses. They become experts at making you feel indebted to them or responsible for their emotional state. They might constantly bring up past favors they've done for you, implying that you owe them. Or they might use passive-aggressive comments to make you feel bad for wanting to spend time with friends or pursue your own interests. It's a silent transaction where you are always paying with your energy, your time, and your peace of mind. Another damaging tool is the use of shame. A manipulative partner might criticize you under the guise of just being honest or trying to help you. They might mock your dreams, your insecurities, or your vulnerabilities, often in front of others, to make you feel small. This isn't constructive criticism. It's a deliberate attack on your self-worth. It's designed to make you feel flawed and unworthy, creating a dynamic where you feel you need their approval to feel whole. This keeps you trapped, believing you're not good enough to be on your own or to find someone who will truly value you for who you are. Think about the silent treatment. This is another classic manipulative tactic. Instead of communicating their feelings, they withdraw all affection and communication, leaving you in a state of anxious suspense. You're left guessing what you did wrong, replaying every recent interaction in your mind. This intentional withholding of connection is a power play. It forces you to be the one to break the silence, often by apologizing for something you may not have even done, just to restore the peace. It teaches you to avoid conflict at all costs, effectively silencing your own needs and concerns in the future. Breaking free from this cycle requires immense self-awareness and courage. It starts with learning to trust your own feelings. If a situation feels wrong, if you constantly feel confused, anxious, or guilty in your partner's presence, listen to that intuition. Your emotions are your internal guidance system. They are not an overreaction. They are a reaction. Begin to set firm boundaries. You can say, "I am not responsible for your emotions," or "I will not be spoken to that way." It's about taking back your power, not by fighting fire with fire, but by refusing to play the game altogether. Your peace is non-negotiable. Let's move on to our next red flag, one that can feel like a slow poison seeping into the very foundation of your relationship: consistent lying. We're not just talking about a one-off white lie told to spare someone's feelings. We are talking about a pattern of dishonesty, a habit of untruth that becomes the norm rather than the exception. Trust, as we know, is the bedrock of any meaningful connection. It's the unspoken agreement that you can rely on each other, that you are safe in the reality you share. Each lie, no matter how small, is like a hairline crack in that foundation. Over time, those cracks multiply and deepen until the entire structure is ready to crumble. Think about the impact of small, seemingly insignificant lies. Your partner says they're working late, but you find out they were out with friends. They say they paid a bill, but a late notice arrives. On their own, these might seem minor, but when they become a pattern, they create an environment of doubt. You start to question everything. You find yourself becoming a detective in your own relationship, checking stories, looking for proof, living in a state of constant vigilance. This is exhausting. It robs you of your peace and turns a partnership that should be a sanctuary into a source of perpetual stress and anxiety. This pattern of dishonesty erodes intimacy on a profound level. Intimacy isn't just physical. It's the vulnerability of sharing your true self with another person. It's the security of knowing you can share your thoughts, your fears, and your dreams without judgment. But how can you be truly vulnerable with someone you can't trust? How can you share your deepest self when you're not even sure you're getting the truth about their day? The lies build a wall between you, brick by brick. You might be physically close, but emotionally, you are miles apart, separated by a fortress of deceit that makes true connection impossible. It's also important to ask why the lying is happening. Often, chronic lying isn't just about the specific untruths being told. It's a symptom of a deeper issue. It could stem from a fear of conflict, a need to control the narrative, or a fundamental lack of respect for you and the relationship. A person who lies consistently may be avoiding accountability for their actions, or they may be crafting a version of reality that better suits their desires. Understanding that the lying is a red flag for these deeper problems is crucial. It's not just about the lies themselves, it's about what the existence of those lies says about the health and integrity of your connection. When you're caught in a relationship with someone who lies consistently, you start to live in a distorted reality. It's like trying to navigate a maze where the walls are constantly shifting. You lose your sense of direction because the landmarks you thought you could trust, your partner's words, are unreliable. This constant state of uncertainty is incredibly damaging to your mental health. It can lead to heightened anxiety, a feeling of being on edge, and a deep sense of isolation. You might even start to feel like you're the one who is crazy for questioning things, a feeling that is often reinforced by the liar themselves. Consider the energy it takes to maintain a web of lies. The person lying has to remember what they said to whom, keeping their stories straight to avoid being caught. This requires a significant amount of mental and emotional resources. Now think about the energy it takes from you to live with it. You spend your energy trying to decipher truth from fiction, worrying about what you don't know, and dealing with the emotional fallout when a lie is exposed. All of this energy, which should be invested in growing together and building a beautiful life, is instead wasted on managing deceit. It's a profound misallocation of the life force of the relationship. When you confront a consistent liar, their reaction is often another red flag in itself. Instead of showing remorse or taking responsibility, they might get defensive. They might try to turn it back on you, accusing you of being suspicious or not trusting them. This is a form of manipulation designed to make you feel guilty for uncovering their dishonesty. They might minimize the lie, saying it wasn't a big deal, or they might even lie further to cover up the original lie. A genuine apology involves acknowledging the hurt caused by the breach of trust, not just being sorry they got caught. The absence of that genuine remorse is a clear sign that the pattern is likely to continue. Rebuilding trust after it has been repeatedly broken is a monumental task, and frankly, sometimes it's not possible or even advisable. It requires the person who lied to commit to radical honesty and transparency, and to do the deep work to understand why they resort to deception. But you are not obligated to stick around and supervise their rehabilitation. Your primary responsibility is to your own well-being. You have to ask yourself, can I truly build a future on a foundation that is riddled with cracks? Is this a healthy environment for my heart and my mind? Sometimes the most loving act is to walk away from the maze and find solid ground again. Let's talk about the baggage we carry. Every one of us comes into a new relationship with a history, a collection of experiences, lessons, and sometimes wounds from our past. This is perfectly normal. It's part of what makes us who we are. The red flag, however, isn't the existence of this baggage. The red flag is when these past issues are unresolved, unhealed, and are allowed to bleed into the present, casting a shadow over your current connection. This can manifest as bringing old hurts, fears, and insecurities from a previous relationship into your new one, essentially making your current partner pay for the mistakes of someone from their past. Think of it like this. Imagine your partner was cheated on in a previous relationship. That's a deep wound. But if they haven't worked through that pain and a deep sense of betrayal, they may project that fear onto you. They might become overly suspicious, constantly check your phone, or accuse you of being unfaithful without any evidence. You find yourself constantly having to prove your loyalty, not because of anything you've done, but because you are interacting with the ghost of their ex. You're not in a relationship with just your partner. You're in a relationship with your partner and the unresolved trauma of their past. This can also appear in how they handle conflict or intimacy. If a past partner was highly critical, your current partner might be overly defensive or shut down completely during disagreements, anticipating an attack that isn't coming. If they experienced abandonment, they might become clingy or anxious whenever you need space, interpreting your need for solitude as a sign you're about to leave. These are conditioned responses, automatic reactions programmed by past pain. While it's important to have compassion for their history, it becomes a serious problem when they are unwilling to acknowledge or work on these patterns, leaving you to navigate their emotional minefield. It's crucial to understand that their past is their responsibility to heal. While you can be a supportive and understanding partner, you cannot be their therapist. You cannot fix their old wounds for them. A healthy partner recognizes their baggage and takes ownership of it. They might say, I know I get anxious when you go out with your friends because of my past, and I'm working on it. I trust you. That is worlds away from, you can't go out with your friends because I don't trust anyone. One shows self-awareness and a commitment to growth, while the other places the burden of their past squarely on your shoulders. Unresolved issues aren't just about past romantic relationships. They can stem from childhood trauma, family dynamics, or deep-seated personal insecurities that have been carried for years. For instance, someone who grew up in a household where their feelings were constantly dismissed might struggle to communicate their needs effectively as an adult. They might bottle things up until they explode in anger, or they might resort to passive-aggressive behavior because they never learned how to express themselves directly and safely. This pattern, left unaddressed, can create a cycle of misunderstanding and conflict in your relationship. When these issues remain unresolved, they can create a dynamic where your partner is constantly seeking validation from you that they never received in the past. They might need constant reassurance of your love, your attraction to them, or your commitment. While reassurance is a normal part of any relationship, it becomes a red flag when it's a bottomless pit. No amount of love or validation you provide will ever be enough to fill a void that was created long before you came along. This can be incredibly draining for you, as you may feel like you're constantly pouring energy into a bucket with a hole in it. The refusal to address these issues is often the biggest problem. A partner who is in denial or who refuses to seek help, whether through therapy, self-reflection, or honest conversation, is essentially choosing to let their past dictate your collective future. They might get defensive when you try to gently point out a pattern, saying, "That's just how I am," or "You knew what you were getting into." This refusal to take responsibility for their own healing creates a stalemate. It means the same conflicts will arise again and again, because the root cause is never being addressed. You become trapped in a loop, reliving the same arguments and hurts. Ultimately, you have to assess whether your partner is willing to do the work. A healthy relationship is made up of two whole individuals who are committed to their own growth, both separately and together. If your partner is actively working on their issues, showing self-awareness, and communicating about their struggles, that is a sign of hope and maturity. But if they are content to let their unhealed wounds dictate their behavior and damage your connection, you have to recognize that as a significant red flag. You deserve a partner who is present with you in this relationship, not one who is constantly fighting battles from the past. Think about the last time you shared a dream with someone. I don't mean a small aspiration, but a big, audacious, heart-on-your-sleeve kind of dream. The kind that makes you feel vulnerable just saying it out loud. Now picture sharing that with your partner. What is their immediate reaction? Do their eyes light up with yours? Do they lean in, eager to hear more, to ask questions, to understand the fire that's been lit inside you? Or is there a subtle shift, a polite but distant smile, a quick change of subject, or worse, a quiet dismissal? This reaction, my friends, is a powerful indicator of the health of your relationship. A true partner is not just a companion for the easy days, they are the co-pilot for your life's journey, and that includes supporting the destinations you want to reach, even if they don't fully understand the map yet. A lack of support often isn't loud or aggressive. It's not always a direct, "You can't do that." More often, it's a silent dream killer. It's the consistent, low-level discouragement that slowly erodes your confidence. It's the "be realistic" comments that are disguised as practical advice, but are actually rooted in fear or a lack of belief in your potential. It's the way they might subtly mock your new hobby in front of friends, or conveniently forget about the important presentation you have, offering no words of encouragement. This passive undermining can be more damaging than outright opposition because it makes you question yourself. You start to wonder, am I being silly? Am I aiming too high? And slowly you start to shrink your dreams to fit the small space your partner has created for them. True support is about more than just cheering from the sidelines. It's about active participation in each other's growth. It's your partner bringing you a cup of tea when you're studying late for an exam, even if it means they go to bed alone. It's them listening for the 10th time as you practice your business pitch, offering constructive feedback because they are invested in your success. It's celebrating your small wins with the same enthusiasm as the big ones. Support is a verb. It's an action. It's the daily practice of showing up for each other's personal evolution. When this is missing, you're not just missing a cheerleader, you're missing a fundamental pillar of what it means to build a life together. You are essentially navigating your growth journey alone, while tethered to someone who is standing still. So, I invite you to reflect on this. Does your partner's presence in your life make you feel more expansive or more restricted? When you think about your goals, do you feel a sense of shared excitement? Or do you feel a need to hide parts of your ambition to keep the peace? A healthy relationship should be a greenhouse, a place where both of you can grow, blossom, and reach for the sun. If your relationship feels more like a cage, no matter how gilded or comfortable it may seem, it's a sign that the support structure is failing. And without that mutual support, the foundation of your shared future is built on sand, ready to be washed away by the first wave of challenge or change. Support isn't just about dreams and ambitions. It's about emotional well-being. It's about being each other's safe harbor in the storm. When you've had a terrible day, when you're filled with self-doubt, or when you're grieving a loss, is your partner the person you turn to? And when you do you feel seen, heard, and validated? Or do they meet your vulnerability with judgment, impatience, or what we call toxic positivity? Saying things like, just get over it, or it's not that big of a deal isn't support, it's dismissal. It's a refusal to sit with you in your discomfort, to share the emotional load. A supportive partner doesn't try to fix your feelings. They validate them and offer their presence as a source of comfort and strength. Think of it like this: your emotional state is a frequency. When you're feeling low, you need someone who can tune into that frequency with empathy, not someone who tries to violently switch the channel. This lack of emotional support creates an echo chamber of negativity. You begin to feel like your feelings are a burden, that your struggles are an inconvenience. So you stop sharing. You start to internalize your pain, carrying it alone. This emotional isolation is one of the most profound forms of loneliness one can experience, because you are lonely while right next to someone who is supposed to be your closest ally. The silence in the relationship becomes louder than any argument ever could. Furthermore, a partner who doesn't support you often fails to stand up for you. Pay attention to how they react when a friend or family member disrespects you. Do they defend you, creating a united front and making it clear that disrespect towards you is disrespect towards them? Or do they stay silent or worse, agree with the criticism to avoid conflict? This is a critical test of loyalty and support. Your partner should be your number one advocate, your defender in the court of public opinion. When they fail to do this, it sends a clear message. Their comfort is more important than your dignity. Their desire to keep the peace with others is stronger than their desire to protect your peace of mind. Ultimately, a partnership is a team, and on any successful team, every member feels valued, supported, and essential to the mission. They know that even if they stumble, a teammate will be there to help them up. If you consistently feel like you're playing a solo game, if your failures are yours alone but your successes are minimized, it's a giant red flag. You deserve a teammate who helps you train, strategizes with you, celebrates your victories, and helps you analyze your losses so you can come back stronger. Don't settle for being the only one putting in the effort. Don't settle for a partner who is, in essence, on the opposing team. Boundaries are the invisible fences we build around ourselves. They're not walls to keep people out, but guidelines to teach people how to lovingly and respectfully be in our lives. These fences protect our emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. They help define where we end and another person begins. A healthy, respectful partner understands and honors these fences. Sure, they might not always see them perfectly, but when they bump into one, they apologize, take a step back, and learn the layout of your personal space. They see your boundaries not as a rejection of them, but as an expression of your self-respect. This is a fundamental aspect of a conscious and loving relationship. A major red flag is when a partner consistently disregards these boundaries, treating them as suggestions rather than rules of engagement. And this can start in small, seemingly insignificant ways. Maybe you say you need a quiet evening alone to recharge, and they insist on coming over anyway, guilting you into it. Or perhaps you state that you're not comfortable discussing a certain past trauma, and they keep pushing you to open up before you're ready. Each time a boundary is crossed, it's like a small section of your invisible fence is being trampled. At first, it's just a small gap, but over time, the entire perimeter can be destroyed, leaving you feeling exposed, unsafe, and without a sense of self. Think about physical boundaries. This isn't just about extreme violations, it's about those everyday moments. It's about being tickled when you've asked them to stop, being pressured for physical intimacy when you're not in the mood, or even having your phone snatched out of your hand. These actions, while they might be framed as jokes or playful, are actually assertions of power. They communicate, "My desires are more important than your comfort. Your no doesn't really mean no to me." This erodes your sense of bodily autonomy and can create a deep-seated anxiety within the relationship, making you feel like you constantly have to be on guard, even with the person you should feel safest with. Emotional and mental boundaries are just as crucial. This is about your right to your own feelings, thoughts, and opinions. A partner who disregards these boundaries might tell you that you're too sensitive when you express hurt, effectively invalidating your emotional reality. They might go through your personal journal, emails, or messages, violating your mental privacy. Or maybe they demand to know your every thought, leaving no room for personal reflection. When your internal world is constantly being invaded and judged, you lose your sanctuary. A healthy relationship requires space for two whole individuals to coexist, and that space is defined and protected by the mutual respect of boundaries. One of the most powerful ways to test the health of a relationship is to observe how your partner responds to the word no. No is a complete sentence. It's honestly the ultimate boundary setting tool. In a healthy dynamic, a no is met with acceptance and respect, even if it leads to disappointment. It might spark a conversation to understand why, but it doesn't spark a fight, a guilt trip, or a punishment. The person's right to say no is honored above the other person's desire for a yes. How your partner handles your no tells you everything you need to know about how much they respect you as a sovereign individual. When a partner consistently challenges, ignores, or gets angry at your no, it is a blaring red flag. This behavior reveals a sense of entitlement to your time, your energy, your body, and your life. They may use manipulation, saying things like, "If you really loved me, you would," or "After all I have done for you, you can't do this one thing for me." This isn't a negotiation, it's emotional coercion. It's designed to make you feel guilty and selfish for upholding your own limits. Over time, this can train you to stop saying no altogether. You start to preemptively agree to things you don't want to do, just to avoid the inevitable conflict, slowly erasing your own needs and desires to appease theirs. This disregard for boundaries often extends to your relationships with others. A partner might try to set rules about who you can see or talk to, effectively trying to draw your boundaries for you. They might get upset if you make plans with friends without clearing it with them first. This isn't about wanting to spend time with you. It's about controlling your life and isolating you from your support system. A healthy partner encourages your friendships and trusts your judgment. They understand that your relationships with others enrich your life and, by extension, the life you share together. They don't see your friends and family as competition, but as a valued part of your ecosystem. Remember, setting a boundary is an act of self-love. It's saying, "I value myself enough to protect my peace." Anyone who makes you feel bad for that is not aligned with your well-being. It is not your job to manage their disappointment when they can't have their way. It is your job to be the guardian of your own soul. If you find yourself in a constant battle to defend your invisible fences, it may be time to ask yourself if you're in a partnership or a prison. You have a right to your no. You have a right to your space. You have a right to be you, fully and unapologetically. Never let anyone convince you otherwise. We've journeyed together through these 10 red flags, these warning signs that something in a relationship may be fundamentally misaligned with the love, respect, and safety you deserve. From the silence of poor communication to the blatant disregard for your boundaries, each of these flags represents a potential detour away from a healthy, fulfilling partnership. I want you to take a moment now, just breathe, and sit with what you've heard. Did any of these resonate with you? Did a specific story or a particular feeling rise to the surface? Acknowledging these truths can be painful, but honestly, it's also the first, most courageous step toward healing and change. If you recognized your own relationship in any of these descriptions, please hear this. You are not alone, and it is not your fault. We often accept the love we think we deserve, and sometimes past experiences have taught us to deserve less. But I am here to remind you of your inherent worth. You deserve a partner who supports your dreams, not one who shrinks them. You deserve a love that feels like a safe harbor, not a battlefield. You deserve honesty, trust, and respect as the bare minimum, not as a luxury you have to earn. If you recognized any of these red flags, remember, you deserve a healthy, loving relationship. That is not a hopeful wish. It is your fundamental right. Making a change can feel daunting, whether it's having a difficult conversation with your partner, seeking counseling together, or making the brave decision to walk away. But your future self, the one who is living in peace, who feels cherished, and who is free to be their most authentic self, will thank you for the courage you showed today. Your peace is worth fighting for. Your happiness is a worthy goal. Don't let the fear of the unknown keep you in a situation that is knowingly hurting you. Trust your intuition. It's the wisest guide you have. Every step you take toward a healthier dynamic, no matter how small, is a step back to yourself. Thank you for sharing this space with me today and for being open to these honest conversations about love and life. Your journey matters and your story is important. I would love to hear your perspective and learn from your wisdom. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. What red flags have you learned to look out for? Your experience could be the sign that someone else needs to see. And if this conversation was valuable to you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content that aims to help us all live and love more purposefully. Until next time, be well and be true to yourself.